Dude, come back. Wow. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the service. Let's get warmed up. It's still warm up time. Oh, you boopsies. What's up, everybody? Come on in. Come on in. Welcome to the service. We're just warming up. Get funky with the music a little bit. Get funky with that music. Yeah, get silly with the music. That's good. Already 6 likes. Yeah, that's right. Say I love YouTube and hit the like button. Say I love the algorithm and how you hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that like button. Whoa. People are commenting in the comment section. That's very good. Keep those comments coming in. Like I said, let the YouTube know that you love the goody damn, and make sure you hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the like button, everybody. Like a good congregation should, hit that like button. Go ahead. And get funky with this music selection. We're going to go live in a couple seconds. I got an incredible guest for you all today. We got an incredible guest, but just get funky with the music. Get into the moment. Make sure you have love and kindness in your heart. Have love in your heart. Get still with the music. We're going to start in just a few minutes and make sure you let the YouTube algorithm know that you love the algorithm. Hit that like button. Thanks, everybody. Oh, sometimes I get so excited before the broadcast that I can't help but just talk with an accent the whole time. I don't know what to do. I can't stop it sometimes. You know, I love Joel Osteen. You know how much I love him. It's an influence, I know, but it's cool. I would never do that to you guys. I love you. Come on in. This is an anti-cult. This is where it's not. This is where you go if you don't want to be in the cult. So come on in, but definitely let the YouTube know that you love this algorithm and hit that like button. Come on in. Bot DT says the service. Yes, it is a service, isn't it? Come on in to the service. Boxing Content Abundance Mindset Joel Osteen. That's what I do like about him. But you know what? We have some guests on today that probably that might different. And honestly, it is like a scam too, right? Like it's inspirational, but it's also like kind of a scam. So anyway, you know me. I love that. I like to talk about it, get into it. NatalieGrandAuthor.com is here. Cult Junkies, yay! Oh yeah, she's here, and she's in the waiting room too. Man, you guys don't even know how we're adding services to the community every single week. It's true, we do have an abundance mindset, yeah, and I guess we do have Joel Osteen to thank for that. And we're cult junkies, and I guess we have being cult junkies to blame for loving Joel Osteen as much as we all do, because I know we all love it. Natalie says cult awareness. It's true. We need cult awareness. Bot D says Supreme Cult Leader means no. Hey, this is called Rehab. Just cool it, dude. Hey. Watch it, Bot D. It's fine. No, I appreciate you. You know, I love you. You know, I would never hurt you guys. And but this is where you want to go if you don't want to be in a cult, really. And like I said, perfect. I'm here. Got some great guests today. Natalie Grant, ex-Jehovah's Witness, is on, and she's also a cult junkie. So we're going to get along with her. We're going to have a great time. And then we have after that Judicial, the Hindu Scientologist, coming in at 7:00. Hindu Scientologist. So whoever the recruiters were, tight, because if you got a Hindu, forget it. I can't wait to hear this. He actually, once he told me how they got his dad, I was like, oh, of course. You're not going to believe the secret that the recruitment secret that we'll tell you at 7. You won't believe it. But as soon because when he said he's Hindu, he told me his last name. I won't say his last name. Oh my God. Now to make sure I don't say his last name. They know it, and it's so brown, and I just want to say it. I'm not going to say it. Vishal, let's just call him Vish. Let's call him Vish, coming in, Hindu Scientologist. They got his dad, and when he first told me, I'm like, they got a Hindu? Come on, brother, how can this happen? And then he told me the story. I was like, of course they got him. Makes total sense. So That'll be the second hour. First hour, we have, like I said, Natalie Grant coming in, author of Cult Girls, and ex-Jehovah's Witness herself, and cult junkie. So, yeah, let's bring her on. Let's do this, everybody. Let's welcome Natalie Grant to the service. As soon as I figure out how to bring that. There we go. Natalie, what's up? Hold up. Your audio's not on. Now I got it.
It's good party talk, too.
What's that?
I said it's good party talk. People call me Jehovah and make jokes, and I love it. I own it, and I'm here to make awareness everywhere I go. I make a joke constantly.
That's great. And it's so sick that you pulled off the book. You know how many people want to write a book?
Yeah.
You wrote it.
This one is the first. It's the first comic book for any anti-cult community. So I've had other cults reach out and say, I want one. It's like, gotta make your own. But hopefully we do.
The Buddha's smiling on you. I'll tell you that. That is good karmas that you're doing there. And I don't know what they told you to do when you were in the cult. What's that?
Yeah, it's fun.
That's great. And it's so important that we tell people about that, raise awareness. So tell us a little bit about how you got into it. Because I like to make sure we know how people get in, and then we like to make sure we cover the escape techniques, because that's very important for the culture. Yeah. Make sure everyone listening, take your notes, get into it.
I definitely was the category. There's different categories of why people get into a cult. I was born into it. So we got extreme family pressure on both sides, third, fourth generation. Wasn't allowed to hang out with other people at school. No curricular activities. I had people asking, hey, your daughter's really good at basketball. I was like, don't even call my parents, because if the answer is big fat no.
It is like being a brown girl a little bit. Like a lot of brown girls in Canada, like their parents are so strict. Even when you're dating them, like the dad will be following them and stuff like that. Like, was it really repressive like that? How was the dating?
But I would have rather been a brown person, because a lot of my friends are Indian and I know a lot about the Indian culture. And I was like, that would be a good graphic novel too. But
God is great.
at least they tool their women with education, at least the ones here in America.
Oh,
and they do spoil their kids. So I would have rather had the tutor and that lifestyle of lots of activities and piano lessons and stuff.
Yeah, the education is strong though, even with the brown girls, who's like their parents are repressive kind of, but they're not just like stay home and marry. Like, I don't know, people that come here, they're a little too secular for that.
Well, I would have preferred that. Actually, Jehovah's Witnesses are the opposite. When there's if you look on Google, look at the religions that are the least educated, Jehovah's Witnesses is number one. And there's a reason for it, because they don't want you learning. They don't want you reading outside material. So that's very culty right there. They fit almost all the categories for culty.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad that you put me in my place on the Hindus. The Hindus are actually very progressive. They're not, I joke about it being a cult, but it's actually very progressive. It's open source though.
Free. I see women that get to be free. They don't, some of them want them to be like married or certain things, but I see that they're able to go off on different pursuits at least. So that's nice.
Yeah. And they party,
Yeah.
They're out here. If I go clubbing and stuff, like I'm meeting brown girls, they're out.
Oh, they're fun. They're fun.
It's over now. Like the whole dad following thing. I think that's like a generation ago. We had women at our house recently, and they're telling my mom how we told Pooja, I don't care if you have a Muslim boyfriend or a black boyfriend. And my mom's like, my mom was going to go, she was like, wow, it was like a program upgrade. She didn't know.
Wow, that's great. That's great. That's here in America. Most of my friends are like that, as long as they're good people and, they want them to think it through. It's a permanent decision. I mean,
yeah. And so how do they so you grew up in it. What do they do when you try to leave? Like, what's their kind of
That's when it's a cult, is when you try to leave, it's very challenging. So basically it is like the Amish. I've watched the Amish channel. That's kind of similar. You get your birth certificate. I don't have my pictures from when I was a kid. So either does my family that have left too. So you are pretty much, they're not going to meet your children. And these are the things they don't want to tell people, because they want to go to your door and knock on it and say, we're so loving and unified. We don't want war. But the first people they're willing to hurt is their own family. So, and then the cool part of it is that they want you to work. They don't flat out say it, but they love like jobs that you could be like a house cleaner and or you work for other Jehovah's Witnesses, because then you don't have to worry about being with worldly people. But it also puts an extra pressure that when you try to leave, you are not allowed to live with worldly people. That means non-Jehovah's Witnesses.
They said worldly
for that. So you're living your work environment. So when you leave, there's homeless people. Because they can't, they're kind of like they've gotten kicked out of their environment. They might have lost their jobs, and then there's other things. You just try to go to town and like go into certain businesses, and you're rejected. And I see it all the time on Facebook, like they can't get their car work done or whatever. So it's really cold. It's a very cold religion when you leave.
Wow. Yeah. So for people that didn't get that from the beginning, or just tuning in, Natalie Grand is ex-Jehovah's Witness. Born in, and you're out now, and you wrote a book about it, Cult Girls, to help spread awareness and let the people know. And you're here for the people today too. Thank you for coming. Man, I grew up with this ex-Jehovah's Witness. Oh, no, he's still Jehovah's Witness. I grew up with, but he was a good friend when I was a kid. And at one point, I remember the age where his family said like, no, you have to get all of them or no more. And it had to, he was just like, if we hung out with him, he was selling it or we're not hanging out.
Yeah. Well, that's what I do for work too, as I'm a salesperson. But yeah, you're telling
so you got good sales training
when they're little that, Santa isn't real, Tooth Fairy's fake, Halloween is satanic. I was doing all of that. The flag, if you're celebrating the flag, that means you like war. If you're wearing a cross, I would say you're wearing a murder weapon. It's just like... I was Debbie Downer at school.
That is a bit of I know. Even our friend, he didn't stand up for national anthem.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and I'm like, bro, it's Canada. You can stand up for the national anthem. It's like a sweetie, nice national anthem. Like our national anthem's like, we're proud to be here. It's not like we shot them down, like the French, the American. Yeah. It's about war. It's about bombing someone. Yeah. The rockets, red glare. We took it. Canadian national anthem. I'm like, dude, it's like a prayer. It's like, we love each other and we love this land. Oh, Canada, you're great. Like, that's all it is. He had to go outside every time.
Well, I did take this. Well, I ended up going to college, which is very frowned upon, especially for a woman in Jehovah's Witness faith. That's very selfish.
Oh, how we took.
But I took a lot of classes about that, and it kind of helped me see that they said that they're called it's like a culture at work or in your community. And holidays are really important for, like, if an immigrant comes to a country, to try to force themselves to do what the local customs are. And then that helps build unity. And it's about feeling part of your community and your neighbors. So it's actually like healthy and it's good for your business. And so it was like, wow, they make this seem like so much. Everything had to mean something. And it really doesn't. It meant something positive. They're just little silly routines that help bond people together. And it's good to be silly.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they're just being haters because it's like the funnest, silliest story should win. But they're basically trying to have a monopoly, like, no, only our story, no other stories. Like, yeah, you'll get brainwashed or whatever.
At least Jehovah's Witnesses, they want to pick and choose everything has a root. So even the wedding ring, that could have like a spirit, but they let you have that, but you can't have a birthday because somebody in the Bible had their head cut off. And now my little kids, they have birthdays and they're not being selfish. It's a wonderful experience for them to feel special, because I never felt special growing up as a Jehovah's Witness along with others. You're constantly beaten down when you go to these meetings that are like a couple times a week, and they're saying, you're a slave, you're stupid, your heart is treacherous, don't trust yourself, you're not good enough, and you have to constantly be striving that you're not doing enough. And this is very common when you watch all those cult series. It's just like they're just constantly trying to time suck you and humiliate you in a sense. You can never be built up.
Yeah.
Psychology.
That's why this is this Church of Loving Kindness that we're in right now. Like I'm into loving kindness. I studied this. It's a technique of the Buddhas. But like this whole time sucking, like the work that these cult leaders go through, it's a lot to brainwash people.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of the Jehovah's Witnesses have gone to is it Eastern Buddhism, and I totally get why many do, because it's about releasing some of these things.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, I mean, I don't want to proselytize. And it doesn't even teach you to. They don't even want you to proselytize. But I gotta say, the philosophy is just so tight. Like, I've heard everything. I grew up super religious. I was into all this. I actually, I used to love the Jehovah's Witness books, and my parents, because they're so respectful of all religions, they wanted me to go. They were like, go talk to him. He's going to teach you about Jesus. They were like, go talk to him. Well,
they are very nice. The people are nice. They are very humble. I got that all the time. I mean, most of my friends were minorities growing up because I was kind, and and plus, I just loved, they were really nice to me. I liked all the book people and stuff, but yeah, they are nice people. They are taught to nice, but there is an alternative motive. So you kind of, and some other faiths are like that too. Mormons, they would always be really nice to us door to door. And then it was like, are we really going to convert this guy? We got two people that are being really nice to each other. And then we'd spend an hour being nice to each other, but we really knew at the end of the day, we weren't going to convert each other.
Yeah, it's a lot. You're not going to it's aggressive. And I remember these guys would come over when I'm home alone. Like, I'd just be home alone as like an 8-year-old, 10-year-old. They'd give me the books. They'd be like, you got to hang out. You got to join whatever. And then my uncle came to live with us from India. And my uncle's like very proud Hindu. He let him in. He's like, I want to, yeah, tell me. Yeah, tell me. He was almost like cocky about it. He's like, tell me. And he'd heard all of it. He's like, that's a good story. That's beautiful. Your Jesus is beautiful. Okay, now let me tell you about Hare Krishna. And they'd be like, no, we can't. And he'd get so mad at them. But it's like, dude, just leave it. Like, he thinks he's going to get these guys back. This is a sophisticated brainwash operation.
Yeah,
you're not going to get it with the Hare Krishna story.
No.
Ridiculous. But he just got so offended about it. And they are like, but they were so polite.
Yeah, they are polite. Well, we have time. Everything's time. So if somebody invites you in your home, first of all, most people are rude or hide behind their door, which I don't blame them. But if there's somebody nice, they get to count their time. And the more time that you get, you kind of get up in the world and in the ranking. And so, yeah, that's why they're always after those children, because they get a lot of time. And if you could get 50 to 100 hours of ministry, you can get like a special title. And that's the only title you can get as a woman and I was a pioneer, if you're just like, and so you're just peddling and trying to find people that will like let you in their house, or like an old person, maybe senile, like you can sit there and like read the Bible to her.
Wow. And they pay you for that?
No, you don't get paid. No, Jehovah's Witnesses do not pay anybody.
No.
They've had some millionaires, and it's very rare, but they do not get retirement. And then when they're making a budget cut, they go, and then they've had no tools. They didn't have, they're older. They didn't have kids. This is not the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, when you work for them, you get like a retirement, healthcare, they pay their people peanuts. And if you're in it, like I was, you pay all your own gas and then men are telling you what to do for the day. The women don't get to organize nothing.
Wow. Yeah. No, women aren't allowed. Of course. They just send you out to get people. Did they ever try to play you up for like, because I remember like they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses, but it was another like kind of Christian group by my house. And they would send these hot girls to come get us. And it's hard as a guy. You're just so like funny. The wires in your brain they call it flirty fishing. They'd come around and be like, hey, what do you want to hang out this weekend? Yeah, we're all gonna hang out on Sunday.
Well, that Jehovah's Witnesses would never hang out with you. They come back. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them admire the women were very beautiful. But they tend to get married very young. But but people did think that.
Yeah. I guess, you guys, I mean, that was one thing that I did appreciate about the Jehovah's Witness. There was like this humility to it. And it sounds like you're saying they teach you that you have to be very humble. So they were actually very sweet. That's the thing.
Oh, yeah. We got that all the time. I mean, we're always working on the inside of our body, not the outside. But so.
Of course, the connection with God.
Yes.
So wait, y'all y'all don't believe in Jesus? Y'all believe in Jesus though, right?
They call themselves Christians, but they do not worship Jesus. He's just God's son, and so he's more of like an example to look at. But what's funny is that Jesus, I think, was a lot nicer than these people. I mean, Jesus liked prostitutes and other other religions, but not these people.
Yeah, no, I'm Hindu, but I love Jesus.
I mean, in the book, I made it nice, but my own family did not. I wasn't even disfellowshipped yet. They have a whole a formal shunning process, and these people did not come to my wedding. And the guests that I was not disfellowshipped yet, they were being told that they were going to get disfellowshipped just for coming, and I wasn't even disfellowshipped yet. So,
oh my God. They just come out.
A full shunning thing on their on the people.
That is the artillery, you know, like even in our family, extended family, like if someone doesn't come to a wedding, like it's okay. You could say like, I'm not coming to a wedding, but this is a big thing with brown people where they send back the invitation, and it's like a big deal. Like if an invitation comes back, like you have to have a family meeting. I've never had a family meeting in my life. My sister's getting married. Some family friend sends back the invitation. The first family meeting I ever had, they're like, this guy sent back the invitation. So we're not talking to them. This is beef. I got to go squash it. Like my dad had to go talk. It's like his cousin. He had to go talk to him and be like, what's the beef? And just have like a little talk. Like what do you mean you're not coming to the wedding? You have to come to the wedding. It's my daughter's wedding. It's like a whole thing.
Well, I barely had anybody at mine. It was my husband's family. I had some good friends, and man, they took a huge risk because I mean, they were just loyal, and most Jehovah's Witness girls do not get that. I mean, I've had people go to custody battles, and because you don't have worldly friends, and they had nobody to vouch that they were a good mother except for me, because I was the only one out, and I felt so bad for her because everybody was lined up on the other side.
and the American legal system, the judge doesn't look at, oh, your minister this, your father this, your sister this. Sorry, but this is bullshit. The judge doesn't come out on your side a little bit?
It depends on the state laws, and they're people. I mean, what if you saw a one lady and you don't see her with any family? And what if the their family's on the other side? This is the stuff that happens because that's putting pressure on that. Most of the time I've experienced that it's mothers, but that puts pressure on her to come back. She can't just like leave this religion. And this is not just Jehovah's Witnesses. This is some other very strong Orthodox faces I've seen too, where their own family have gone to court to make pressure on them, because those kids are recruits. They're the born in people. So like when they have kids, those elders in the organization, they want those kids in there because that's a lot of their increase of numbers. And if they have kids, then they got more. And that is most of their people. It's not from the people I found from door to door. It's mostly people born into it.
Yeah, the big numbers come from born into it. That's why even my parents are like, you got to have kids. Where's the kids? It's like these Patel numbers need to keep going up. The Hindus have 1 billion because everyone's a psycho about it. Everyone's like, you have kids. You got like they're just like, people are depressed because their kids won't have kids.
That's true. But like, I mean that I understand that a little bit.
I'm so glad that you're like I'm telling you, like, you know what? You're telling me about Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm like, you know what? The Hindus no different. And you're just like, no.
No, that's better. I'd rather be a Hindu. Yeah.
No, they are not. They are just like, it's a lot of pressure.
Well, a lot of cultures are that. A lot of older people, they want to see people procreate. And, we're entering a time that a lot of people don't want to, or they want to have less kids because, women are doing a lot more with their life. So, I mean, I have 4 kids, but
wow, that's incredible.
I'm pretty rare. I mean, a lot of people have usually 1 or 2 now in more modern times. But some of these other cultures, they have more.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. I mean, like American 4? That's So were you in still, or were you out by the time you had the kids?
Well, a lot of that's in the book. It's an inspired story, but I had kids when I was young, because most people that are in those very strict Christian, it is all about if there's no goals, really, your goal is to be a mom,
numbers,
and to be married. And I remember when I was little, I did not like that. I was constantly like, I want to be a CEO. I was like, I want to be president of a corporation. And it's like, no, that's not appropriate. I want to live in San Francisco. And no, that's not for a Christian woman. And so that's in a lot of other religions too. But just felt so gypped. I was like, if I was a guy, that would be acceptable. It would be maybe like a little, more okay, even in that religion, but not as a Jehovah's Witness woman. That is not appropriate.
Yeah,
a lot of them, they have to feel pressured when I did move out. It's like you move out if you get married, and you feel weird if you're like maybe age 20 and you didn't find somebody already. You might get picked over because there's not a lot of selection.
Really? They're not like dying to get more like there's not a bunch of dudes on you inside of Jehovah's Witness.
They get married so young. Yeah. It's a little, yeah. And then your dating environment, even though the Jehovah's Witnesses are huge, they're worldwide, but like you might drive like 2-3 hours to a party, or you're going to, people are flying all over, and they're coming together really far away for the purpose of finding a marriage mate. And back then it wasn't encouraged to go online because internet was dangerous. This is like a cult.
They don't have Jehovah's Tinder?
Internet. Now it's changed a little, but they're really against online dating. So they don't really have any like good Jehovah's Witness dating sites. They're very archaic.
Listen, big opportunity there. Imagine you make the Tinder for Jehovah's Witnesses. That's what they need.
They'll shut it down. That's just it. They have to freaking control everything. There's even a picture in the back of the Kingdom Hall how you're supposed to dress, and it's like these Amish looking ladies. It's like point to that, but that picture's like old. Not everybody. They want everybody looking the same.
I got to see this Jehovah's Witnesses how to dress code. I wonder if there's images of it.
It's identical to the people you see in the watchtowers. So yeah, it's very conservative.
I gotta say, my favorite comic book growing up, The Watchtower. I loved it. I loved it as a kid.
A lot of people liked it because it was like scary pictures.
Yeah, as a kid, they know how to get you with the Jehovah's Witness books. The Watchtower. We got to look up Watchtower for that.
Oh, I always like to look at the worldly people. They always showed the world. Yeah, that's like what's in the back of the Kingdom Hall. And when you're 20 and you live kind of like in the suburbs, that's not very fun.
Well, at least they have diversity. They have like a black one on it.
Like that one. Yeah, that's like what it was. Yeah, and they would always say, "Go back there to look at that." Now, if you were dressing provocative, which would just be like a tight top, you're not allowed to have a slip. You were accused of seducing the brothers. I mean, I've been accused too. They're like, you get a talk, you get pulled behind, your parents get talked to because you're distracting the men, and it's like. Yeah, but some of them have Victoria's Secret catalogs. It's like, so we were always getting the blame if guys were looking at it. It's not their fault, but it was our fault.
Yeah, of course. Oh no, they do that. That's so in India. When I was in India too, they were like that. They just always blame the girls. They're like, they were just like, you tempted it. It's like, don't blame. Like you tempted him. What? It's like, what about him? Nothing. Like slap on. The guy will get like you boys will be get out of here. He's hot. But the girl gets like what did you do? You know?
That's what we found. Also, it's like, really?
Wow, that's so silly. I love honestly
a lot of those. There's a lot of memes on a lot of these where they put kind of like make them into action figures and stuff. But if you notice at some of those things, it's a lot of like white old men that are going to be ruling the earth. And so they do have like some, if you look close at their art, I think they're getting a little better, but
this guy rips on the horse. He's like shooting the arrow. That's amazing. In the clouds too. I love these. Like, of course, as a kid. I couldn't get into Spider-Man. What's wrong with me? I loved it. I was going to convert as like an 8-year-old for like a summer.
I've never really heard anybody say this before.
For like a summer.
Time I did. I live near Napa, a famous winery place, and somebody loved the art in one of the wineries and the wine bottles, and I recognized it looked like this, and I was like, I grew up with this stuff. It was like a guy on a chariot and like thunderballs, thunder stuff. Out of fireballs, and we looked it up, and he was a Jehovah's Witness artist. So there is a certain something.
The artwork. You're like, I know
the artwork. I was like, that looks like our stuff, and it turned out it was.
You're like, I think this guy went to my church.
Yeah.
Sick. Wow. Yeah, the artwork is fun.
Try to create a little fear. There was pictures of like people falling through cracks. The new ones are the police officers are like bad people. So I always think that's funny because of police officers.
Wow, political.
Like they have like soldiers. They try to make these videos now. nickname them bunker videos. And basically,
Wow.
when the organization makes the call, you're supposed to abandon your home and go in your basement or something. They're trying to tell people like they're going to drag them out of their home, and they're showing this to little kids. And this is addressed in the book.
Right.
They're bunker
Sick.
videos, and there's a page about it, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, that's just my childhood." So they had that exact same experience. But the thing is when you're a kid, you really think this is real. Like thunderstorms is Armageddon. Armageddon is always not every war, everything's, and so you kind of don't trust police. They even don't have you really trusting medical doctors too. So you get some wacky diagnoses from the people in the congregation because like if you're having a family problem, they tell you not to go see like a psychiatrist or something because that person might get in your brain. And it's like, yeah, but it's okay for them to do that to your brain. So they have very little mental health. A lot of people, they're depressed after they get shunned. And some have committed suicide. And there's just not a lot of like, at least the Catholic Church, when they were having that molestation stuff, they have like a hotline now for victims and give people free therapy that were abused. There's none of that.
There's none of that, eh?
No, there's no reference like for hotlines or therapy, because there's other churches that do like counseling or stuff, or they acknowledge outside mental health, but not in this religion.
Some churches are so modern. I'm very like Joel Osteen, for example. Like they have therapists and stuff. They have they're so modern. They have like cool stuff. They have like debt, like they get you out of debt programs.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they're really sweet, it seems like. But Ricky A. Clickpower in the audience is saying that he was also, and he's giving a fist bump. I see. Wait, dude, men cannot have a beer. Wait. Yeah. Hey, and XJW as well. Hey, Ricky, and you're saying that there's not really a place to go. I would love it if this place was I feel like we could do this weekly. Like we could get a lot more people coming in and just coming in and talking about their experiences with cult, because there's just so many stories out there and they're so common.
The thing with the cult is now I have, I'm a little bit of a cult junkie. Like I said, I like to study things, but I ask a lot of people that go to religion, and they may go to like these strong denominations and they have like book studies and stuff, but it's more like free thinking. They can give their opinion and nobody's judging them but this is not the case in a cult. You have to constantly monitor your speech because people are always if you say something a little weird, they're going to report you and you could get removed and then you lose your family. And and it's very detrimental. So you're always screening and you have to like repeat what is in the magazine. If you go off color a little or opinionated, you aren't allowed to even like comment on an answer session. So they're really high control. And now they use like pull down screens from the governing body, which is like their guru. And so they're losing less and less of their own formation of public talks.
Yeah. That it's so sad. And like, this is like another one of these examples of, first of all, they want to get the numbers up. This is, I feel like, just common in general conservative culture, where they're so worried about like, if you're gay and stuff like that. One man.
Homosexuality is disgusting to them. They said they have all these scriptures. Somebody posted on Twitter, had some footage, and this came up from the curriculum at one of their district conventions, which is one of their very large kind of international, and said that that was disgusting. And so imagine being a kid in it, that you are born gay and you're having these feelings and you're constantly hearing this. And I did have friends that were gay. I had relatives, and this is they will never change their policy because it's just not. I feel
it's so sad. There's even right now in like this video came out like last week.
This one.
Oh, do you know this? You've seen this one?
I can't stomach to watch it, but what they're doing, this is all new since I left. That's the Caleb videos, and they're dumbing down. These people, some of them actually talk like babies now, and we've seen some of their talent because I have friends that are in it, and they'll see like some extended talent, and they act like babies. They're like doing nursery rhyme. These are like growing 30, 50-year-old people. They're still wearing like a Noah hat, and it's just the cartoons. It's all part of this propaganda. They don't treat their people like intelligent people or creative people.
Yeah. There is this sense too that like you can just teach someone not to be gay or something, as if that's gonna like fix it, or to undo it. It's
They
crazy.
said
Like
it's going to
they're
be fixed in the paradise. So that's basically saying you're broken or something's wrong with you, and that's one of their fundamentals. Yeah.
yeah, that's too bad. And it is just like man, woman, make babies. It's just it
Yeah.
is just a make babies agenda. And I
Yeah.
think that psychologically goes in and comes out as like, okay, let's fix them. I don't think it's weird. It's like they don't connect it. Sometimes when I talk to them, they don't just say like, "Hey, how are we going to have kids?" But it's like a kind of a like an aversion to it, obviously. And then at the same time, it seems like their real agenda is like, we need everyone straight so that we can just have baby making machines. Like we got to move on that.
If you are gay, you would never be allowed to talk about it, and you would just have to say celibate for the rest of your life. So,
Wow. And then are y'all convert? You do convert. You're trying to get new people.
I was a pioneer, so I did give it a go. I mean, I struggled in and out. I was very jealous of friends that left when I was younger, but when I had a kid and then I tried it, I mean, for my family to like try to be the best I can. And 9/11 happened when I did. So people were thinking it was Armageddon at that time. And I noticed there's a lot of, and I was young, and there's a lot of young people now with Ukraine. And it's so sad because they're like, Armageddon's here. And all those flashbacks as a kid are like kicking in, and they're wanting to be a good person, but they're really fearing death and thinking this is the end. But they don't realize we've had lots of wars, and
yeah, they're always, even the Hindu guru. Actually, that is one thing that the Hindu gurus are getting on top of too, where they're like this is the end of the world now, and you got to start praying every day and do more. Yeah, like we're in the time of Kali Yuga. It's all people just say that all the time. It's like people who want to be afraid, they'll take reasons and be afraid all the time. Like 2,000 years ago in China, the teachers, the Buddhist teachers were teaching this, that like, some people just always think the world's going to end.
Fear. Yeah. Well, and back then there was a lot of apocalypse. There still is some, but that's how they kind of keep control on their people. Yeah. But I think the main thing, like I see the comment on there is, the education is trying to get people to think for themselves, and they're against, the education system when you're, a lot of them are on homeschool. And then even if you're in school, there's so many meetings at night. They actually have public demonstrations that your homework does not come first. It's about the theocratic routine.
Wow, that is
late at night at meetings and stuff. And then you have family study, and then there's just a lot ministry wise going on. There's just not a lot. School is not the focus ever for a young kid.
This is the focus. What is the Battle of Armageddon?
Yes.
The world's gonna end, you fool. Yes. Oh, the artwork is so tight. I remember this.
These are good. Great. Yes.
This is really good.
Yes. And sometimes there's dragons. See, this is the police people. Like, why is that police officer like
dude, this guy's shooting at an angel.
Oh, guns, they don't they're against guns, but they don't realize. I just found it out in Bethel that they actually shoot the animals there. Some guy called Watching the World, he put a video with they wear a mask, and they have a farm. You sound so culty. The Jehovah's Witnesses have like it's almost like a farm labor camp, and these people don't get paid. I think they get paid maybe like $60 a month or something, and they're picking blueberries. There's a mechanic shop, and public people can come by from this mechanic shop, and then there's like surveillance. It's very hard to get in this place. People have tried to get in. I know. It's like, and then they're buying the properties next to it. So Watching the World channel, you got to go on there. This guy's from Bethel, and he's like exposing this stuff, and it is a riot because I've been in it a long time. I've even visited one of the branches, and the food was terrible, and the people looked unhappy. But they're picking blueberries, and they have guns there. But yet, people that are Jehovah's Witnesses, they do not bear arms. There was a police officer one time, and I don't know how you could be a police officer, but he wasn't allowed to carry a gun or something. Like they do this to their people. Like their jobs are even affected by it.
The no guns, and then the no national anthem too. Like, how do you join? I guess would they join the military? You can't be a cop. You can't be in the military.
Okay, so that's called. There's a name. They go to prison during Vietnam. them. Some of the Jehovah's Witnesses were in prison. I can't remember the name, but they still do that. They're not allowed to go to war. But the main thing people don't know about them is that they aren't allowed to take blood transfusions. So to me, that is not accepting modern medicine.
That's so
And people
Jehovah's
are
Witness.
dying. They're dying, and they're doing
Oh my
I
God.
would call it suicidal martyrism, but they would not. If there's a choice, the state thankfully steps in, or a lot of parents are like glad the state steps in for their children. But like, I'll give you an example. A mom has a baby and this happens. She dies having birth and they paint her a hero. But I'm like, are you a hero? I would be mad if my mom purposely didn't take a blood transfusion and left me without a mother. And then I had a very sad father who's like now trying to raise a baby. I mean, this is just like nuts.
Yeah. And sadly, like as aggressive and like strong as a lot of these cults are with like building, they almost have the seeds of their own destruction. Like their lack of just like they're not thinking rationally, you know, like even the difference between this and the Catholic Church, let's say, you can see the efficiencies. Like the Catholic Church they know how to they're paying people.
Catholic Church makes changes though. They make changes. They accept homosexuality.
Really?
Yeah. They put education centers on. They're doing something for society. Now, I mean, a lot of these things are controversial, but some of the things they're doing, I just don't see that they're doing that many great things for humanity.
Yeah. No, that's so interesting though. That, but you're so okay. You had 4 kids inside, and then you left.
No, I had 2 before when I was younger and I was married in it. And so that's kind of in the book. It's about 4 women that were born, raised in a cult, and then each took a different path. So we call it fade. The good situation is when you don't get disfellowshipped. But I was a disfellowship person. And so it just shows kind of like the situations, like it's like a guidebook, how to kind of like see if you like the outside a little bit before you plunge into it. Because once you're out, you set the bomb off. They won't let you back in. I tried getting back in to like clear my name to maybe like be invited to a wedding or something, but they weren't going to have me back in. There's no way. Yeah, I tried. The main reason was they did want to study with my children were smaller at the time. And first of all, they didn't want to study. And then I wasn't going to let them be alone with them. I'm not going to let these kids out of the sight with people I don't really trust.
No way.
And then I was seeing all these like parents being bragging that they don't talk to their kids. And I'm like, I don't want to be a mom like this. This is terrible. This isn't who I am. So
yeah. So 2 kids in, and then you got out, and then
I got out, and then I have an amazing life, and I had 2 younger kids. So I'm raising very worldly kids. They do all the holidays. They'll be shocked when they grow older and see that their mom, read the book or something, that their mom didn't do all these things, but it's so much better. They put all this fear, like that everybody's shooting up drugs and all this stuff. But actually I saw more drugs growing up in it. The ones that left, they were like springs. They were very unhappy and so many troubled people when I left, and with unresolved issues. And I'm not seeing it. My older ones did come out with me, and they're very thankful. But I am not seeing what those watchtowers at Awakes were saying about the youth that they're at. I mean, they're being productive people. They're helping animals, or learning about the environment and learning engineering and stuff. I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah, like the benefit of staying in, you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, they try to create fear that all these people are really bad, and they're lying, and they're cheaters, and they're doing drugs, and they're like murderers. And I saw the opposite. So when you're kind of going through a more, like a higher, where you're putting school first and letting them be active at school, I saw like other parents volunteering, and I see nothing but positive. If you spend as much time doing that, and you're spending the same time, being involved on their school activities, I've seen like very happy children doing wonderful things for others from the bottom of their heart, and not being forced to do it like you are when you're a Jehovah's Witness. It's such an important message to tell to let the people know about that. Like, I did your system, and then I did it. I had 2 inside, 2 outside. Yeah. Kind of an expert now.
I know
Maybe
both.
my friends
It's
that left
better.
were like science experiments. My friends that have faded out, their kids like almost profession. They've gotten scholarships. They're amazing opportunities. They're very happy. I mean, they cannot, when we even mention some of the things we were doing as a teenager or thinking about getting married, who we going to marry as teenager? You know, they're like, what? That sounds terrible. Even my daughter, she became a nurse and she owns a house and she's living with other young secular women. And she's like, we have movie night and she cannot imagine being like thinking of marriage. She says she still feels like a kid and doesn't know who she is. And I'm all for it. I mean, there is no rush. I mean, that's the rest of your life. She has a long time to figure that out and it'll happen when it comes. I mean, I'm not worried about it. And I don't really care as long as she's a good person and she's happy and she's taking trips. I don't really care. It's her life.
Yeah. I'm totally feeling what you're saying about like, I've seen your system. I've seen this system. I like what you're talking about. You're describing like just a liberal mentality. And like, I did grow up, like my sisters weren't allowed to wear short shorts. Like we're talking about, they cried. Like there was like fights. There was like at like 18, 19, there was fights, crying. Who are you going to marry? You need to marry someone. You better figure it out. I can't imagine with these because now they both have kids, both my sisters. My mom is like, whatever baby wants. What is baby like? Whatever you want. There's no pressure. Do whatever you want. But back then, they were just scared and they were worried.
That part's a little similar because women, when we're young, being taught like, oh, set the table right, sit with your legs closed and stuff. And so it is kind of actually some of my brown friends, since you called them that, have said, now make sure you have a son and a daughter. Make sure that you don't let the daughter do more chores than the boys. And I thought that was so funny because I felt that way as a Jehovah's Witness.
No, I had to date white girls to have like I had to date a white girl and she had to come to the house and be like, wait a minute. Like we'd all eat, whatever. And she'd be like, wait a minute. This piece of shit's not going to do the dishes with everyone. You do the fuck. Like she was pissed. She was like, no, you do the goddamn dishes. Hey. And my sisters were like, no, it's the system. It's what we, do the dishes?
I probably get up and do the dishes. I mean, that's the way
I do now.
These things. Yeah. It's probably why I get along with a lot of other cultures.
Yeah. It's so simple. It's very simple.
Still, you won't get that traditional out. I'm a traditional mom too. I cook and if I'm somewhere, I help and stuff. So I will train my girl that way. But it is important to make sure the boy has a
I'm like that too now.
Yeah.
He's not completely you're just raising like a useless boy, and then they're gonna be like bitter and mad about stuff later too. When like you can't get, it's like what? How come I can't date a girl who just doesn't want to cook for me all the time? It's like that's magic, you idiot. That's not like real people.
Yeah,
it's just inside of your little culture, whatever But wow, great chatting. So that's so interesting. Should we review a clip? We do have a clip. But the other thing I want to say is, wait. I do have one more question. Hold up. I was going to say, so is it like, did your husband leave with you? What was that like?
I was pretty lucky. He's not a Jehovah's Witness now, but he didn't get announced like I did. So I guess Jehovah likes him better, I heard. So from a family member. That's okay. I don't wish this on anybody, having your name announced. When people get their names announced, like that's what they did to me. I wasn't there. If anybody reads my book, a lot of this stuff pretty much happened. I was in a magazine on my date with my Persian boyfriend, and everybody was
Persian.
And so they were passing that all around and gossiping, and it was like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. So it was so wholesome. But yeah, that's what it did. So they announced my name when I wasn't there. And once you get your name announced, people are like, oh, it's like you are horrible. And if you put out any bad information about them, this is considered apostate. So I am now worse. This is called the second death. So I could care less. But anyways, that just shows how programmed they are. So now I can never come back in ever. I mean, I would have to like I'm the worst kind of
No,
person
no,
in the
no,
world
no.
right
You're
now.
out. You're trouble. You're a troublemaker. You went out. You had a great. No way. You'll tell.
Yeah, no, fun
The
is
less
not
girls
going
know, the
to
better.
the gym. All of that is very selfish. Yeah,
Going to the
hobbies. There's people
gym.
on stage that said, "Oh, I had this music career." You know, they might have been really good at an instrument, and they had to let it go because Jehovah was more important and this full-time work of going door to door. And they would do that over. So as a kid, you're seeing this like, "Oh, that's so bad." So you don't even have talents, and if you did, you would not be allowed to use them. It is constant brainwashing on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate to bring up another similarity to brown people. I'm gonna let it go. It's just like another with the arts. It's like, yeah, that's so brown too. They're just like, no, you can't do art. No. Obviously, like, this
Oh
is
yes,
really
I know what you're saying. Yeah, but
Yeah.
what if? But it could be other things too. It could be like engineering or medical. You could have been a valedictorian and a
Yeah,
genius,
that's wild. Yeah.
and they're up there too. I mean, they're like, oh, I let that all go. I got a full ride to Harvard, and they'll get up there and say that. And then I'm thinking, you know, when I was like, Mom, I was like, how stupid! Like if I was like, dude, why?
Oh my God, irresponsible.
You let that go, and you're here, like, why?
They're up there doing the speech. They're like, I could have gone to Harvard. I had a baseball scholarship. Oh my God, it's irresponsible, really, for the parents. You know.
Yeah. They don't realize it, but yeah, it kind of is. You know, the people that, and this is in the book, the people that they do bring in, they go to prisons, they're baptizing them. There is a lot of people that are home. Just when I was there, are like either moms or they're like on unemployment or something. So they're not really recruiting the highest, education people. They're just not going to be attracted to it. I mean, and they love on them. So when they come, I was part of this process. It's in the training of being a pioneer. I went to a special school. When somebody
you got your sales skills,
leader, and you got to go like, "Hi, welcome back. Do you want to get together?" Yeah, you're the best friends. And I did that, but I was probably a little more authentic. And then also you have to lead. They said it's very important to look happy and just be like, oh, this is God's work. It's so wonderful. So that is part of the recruitment process. So that part they like to put me on stage. I'm not allowed to teach because women are beneath men. They do account to their men. So if you have a problem with me, you have to go to my head, and my head could tell me what to wear. He tells me if I can work or not. This is all in the Bible.
In the Bible. Oh, okay. I think you say in the book.
They would put me up there so you can talk to somebody else. But if you were to teach, there would have to be no men in the hall, and you'd have to wear a head covering, and that never happens. There's always like a 14-year-old boy or something at something. So
head covering, eh? So
yeah. Oh, like let's say you're at
home
and you want to talk to your children about God. You have to put a head covering on in front of your husband or your brother or whoever would be at home.
Did you call it a hijab?
Just a reminder.
Just a reminder. I'm pure.
Yes.
Hi, son. I'm pure. Don't worry. Mommy's not.
I've gone along with a lot of other religions because I'll hear their things and I'm like, wow, some of this stuff, it's all the same.
Well, the head covering, that's another brown, it's pretty brown. I mean, just really with Muslims, I feel like they have the hijab and they have the niqab. What did you call yours? Did you have like a special, was it like, here's your official?
We would just try not to be in that situation because it was humiliating. I mean, my own family. Yeah. I mean, as a woman, it's an unsaid thing. You're not going to say it's humiliating, but everybody's like, oh, let's just avoid it. Like, we'll study when they're not around or something.
They didn't even give you an official piece of like, you think that you'd come in and be like, okay, it's a scarf.
Like that. Yeah.
They just say, just get a scarf and wrap it. They don't even give you like, here's your hijab. It's got the JW logo on it. Yeah. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, but women don't teach. Women are not allowed to teach and be in leadership. And there's a judicial system. So they are, read the book because they will chase you down. I was getting certified letters. They do spy on you. They like to say that they don't, but they do. They have people under surveillance. Different alternative motives, but if they want you out, they will. For instance, if you're alone and you're a single woman dating and you are alone with highest rank, whatever, of the Jehovah's Witness, and you're alone and you step foot in that house for 15 minutes, disfellowship it. And you didn't do anything. So you could really sabotage people in it with room. And then also they have two witnesses for stuff. so, but there's other things that are bad with their judicial system. So the judicial system, they say, is appointed by God, and it's 3 men, and they always get the 3 meanest men.
Yeah.
The ones that can pull the axe. And then they go in the room and they talk about sexual details. They tell you, I've been told that, and it's hard to talk about, but they said that you would be stoned if you commit anything. What considered to them as fornication is not what you think. It could just be like a hand on a boob or something like that. That's fornication.
That's fornication.
Fornication, because
this is fornication.
If it was the intent to anything. So women are told that they would have been stoned if they were in times, and they have to talk about these things in front of men. And this can even be children too. Children, there's so much, like, I try not to touch these subjects, but they have a 2-witness pedophile rule. So like there's 13.
Come on.
Yeah. They don't
got
really accept
hand on the
forensic.
boob. Hand on the boob is fornication. You're out.
Yeah.
But pedophile, they go, okay, the two strikes.
You have to have 2. Yeah, if they deny it. And so people, please research this about it depends on the state. They don't have to go to the police, and the parents, nobody wants to put bad press on Jehovah's Witnesses. So they may not warn, and they're not allowed to warn the congregation, because that would be slander if they don't have 2 witnesses. So it really puts some parents in a pickle. They can't really talk about a predator. And this one is the kicker. This is a pretty common one for molestation charges, is they don't acknowledge the grooming process. So if you're a young woman and, like, let's say a 40-year-old man, and you didn't like scream and holler, this is kind of in the book. That could be consensual. So they don't really have it as, so that's why, people are really trying to expose them with there's a series called, or a show called The Watchtower, and they talk about this. And Leah,
I know the book Watchtower.
Yeah.
Sorry. I missed, I talked over the last part. I'm so sorry. What's the Watchtower? It's like a series.
Is ladies that have gone through this. They were abused sexually as a kid, and they talk about their policies, and they tried to even like talk to the higher ups. There's just a lot of cover-ups. There's different rules. Some women I've come across, their parents made them marry the predator to refuse scandal, because they felt like it was consensual. And in some states, parents can sign for their child, and the child doesn't sign. And you could be, maybe I saw on one show, wasn't even a Jehovah's Witness show, but they could be like 11 or something. So that's why these we got to look at these policies to kind of at least protect kids. I mean, if a kid can at least sign, maybe they could go like this and say, I don't want to marry that man. But what if your parents drive you to another state that's friendly on these marriage policies, and they do that? And this is for, like, since this is cult awareness, this is just for all cults. So if we kind of learn the law a little bit, we can change some of these laws. And some of the states are resistant to these changes because they are heavy religious people in these states. I think one of them might be Virginia. Just
respect for the religion. They don't want to change the laws. That's so sad.
Yeah.
I'm buying the book literally right now. Okay, wait, hold up.
Yeah, so I made it fun. I didn't want it overly depressing. So it's kind of like it has some funny scenes, but a lot of people that were raised Christians or other cultures, they kind of related to the women humor in it. And so
that's amazing.
Diversity.
I can't wait.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna get it, and then you have to come back. What's that? Sorry.
I said there's some diversity. It's a California story. And so, it has a little love. And then, everybody doesn't fit in a box. And that's what I noticed is not everybody wants to get married young. Not everybody wants to have children. Some people, might want to work on world problems. And I feel like that's okay. We shouldn't all be the same. And we should all be able to be free to say our opinions without, being told we're going to like a bad place.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on. That's a great message for the culture. You got to come back. We did have some questions, but it's 6:57. We have another guest coming on at 7, but just come back. Like, you should come back and we can review stuff. And just, if you're a cult, if you love cults, definitely come back and we can just talk about other stuff and we can answer some more questions. And, thank you so much for coming, though. That's very enlightening and very inspiring at the end.
Thank you.
Through the whole thing. But I mean, what you said at the end was it's so true. The people need to hear that.
Yeah, it's awareness, because they are knocking on your door. They're at your grocery store in booths, and they're not in marked things. They're at Comic-Con. I've seen the Scientologist. I've seen Jehovah's Witnesses, and they have a full-blown marketing campaign to recruit youth. And they're at, yeah. So you do need to talk to your children about it. A lot of people, they're buying it for like some of the youngers. I'm getting it in libraries and hopefully some high schools. So but it's all about, there's another book by Stephen Hastings. He's a PhD, and it's called Psychology Books. And Jehovah's Witnesses are in there. And because he's been hired by families to get the bag, a lot of Scientology. So yeah, but he said they need to start having awareness young, and it's just like stranger danger or something, that's in the schools now. So we got to also teach them how to think for themselves, to like, because a cult can come in a business, a self-improvement, it could
in
come
NFTs,
a comic book.
Yeah. Even NFTs, like right now, I was just in, before we did the call today, to just ask people to come to the show. I was in this like con artist group inside of Clubhouse, and they were like, it was all about con artists, whatever. Everyone was talking about NFTs. And the big thing with the NFT is it's like a cult, but it's a cult with this product attached to it. And that's how kind of the MLMs work too. They're using cult psychology quite a bit, and the sales training and the constant, like, they're bringing you in. But unlike I would say the Jehovah's Witnesses a step above, even, because at least that's about God. Like, someone believes in God. This is just a product, but then they just attach, they just
a lot
take
of
the
places
writing.
use the cult psychology, even the military. But the difference is, and that's what Steve Hastings' book is what happens when you try to leave. At least with the military, they like give you education and stuff. When you leave Jehovah's Witnesses and you were a missionary, you don't get squat and you don't have tools. And so, so it kind of, you got to look at the big picture of some of these that, what are they driven by? Are they going to just, they don't care about your money, and they're just constantly like leaving you drained, and now you can't live. So yeah, you got to look at the big picture, because some of the psychology isn't, they'll use it, but you may not be like orphaned afterwards or homeless.
Right. Yeah. No, there's levels. There's levels for sure.
When you leave, what is the issue you have? That's probably a big thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming in. We really appreciate it. Come back. And I think we're going to do this monthly at least. We might do it more often, but I think it's so good for the culture for people to hear from you. And we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Wow. Well, there you have it, everybody. What a great guest. So fun. And we have another guest coming in a few minutes, but make sure you buy the book. The book is incredible. The book looks great. I was just trying to buy it on the stream, and then it asked for my password, but there it is. There's a link in the description. Check it out. I can't wait to get it. I honestly, like, she was so nice too. Like, very motherly and very caring, I found. And so make sure you support her. And I feel like she's going to come back. We got to have her back and talk more about even reviewing other cults and stuff like that. And even having people, call in and stuff like that and talk to her about their experiences would be great. But next up, we have another, as mentioned before, a Hindu Scientologist, someone who grew up Hindu and Scientologist. And we're going to keep him anonymous. But when he first told me, I was like, brother, they got a Hindu? They must have some good recruits. And then he told me what, like how his dad got recruited and what he was going through at the time. And I was like, you know what? I can see it. I'm kind of in a situation where, like, if I have the same issue that his dad had, and like, I can see how, like, if I was just new here, or maybe I didn't have too much family, too much friends, whatever, support system, whatever, I could see I could have joined. So we're gonna have him on in like 2 minutes. I need to step away for a second, just to have a quick pee and get fresh for the community. So take a quick break. I'll be right back. Wow, what a professional show! I love it. We're going to be back in a couple minutes with Vishal, the Hindu Scientologist. Just get funky with the music and really think about what our last guest told us. So much wisdom. came in through that. And thanks everyone for coming in. Gary Carley, very true. Leah, what's up? Neil is here. Gary Carley is here. Like I said, Jay Gabru, Turbo Chat, Bolt, please Morton, what up, what up? Gary Charlie with his anti-abortion views, which I don't support, but you know what? You are a child of God. Come on in, baby. Love you. Please Morton, Jay Gabru, Gary Carlisle. Oh, sorry, it's Gary Carlisle, not Gary Charlie. Turbo Chat, what's up, what's up? Yeah, we're going to have Vishal on in a couple minutes, but let me just walk away for 2 minutes, and we'll keep going. Look at this, so professional with the intermission shit. Fucking love it. Sit tight. We'll be right back with Vishal. Oh my God, this dog is so cute. Welcome, welcome, welcome back from the break. I am here. This is Cult Rehab Sunday evenings. Every Sunday, we're doing spiritual Sundays now. That's it. I love it. What a beautiful teacher we had for the first half, and now we have Vishal coming in right now. Like I said, Hindu Scientologist. And when he told me, I was like, how could they have gotten you? And you know what? Or no, he was born into it actually. And once he told me, I was like, yeah, makes sense. I was like, I see it. So and also we had a great conversation after too about just like the societal brainwashes happening in the culture today. Societal brainwashes happening in the culture today. So we're gonna have a little chat afterwards as well, and then we'll open up the phone lines for the closer to 8. And if people want to call in, you can call in, ask a question, say what's up. Shout out to Tom Nash. Tom Nash came in. What's up, baby? Love you. Carlisle, what is this? Carlisle has to come in with like, oh, we're committing abortions in this country and we wonder why the future is lost. Just cool it with this. Okay, you don't have to come in with I know it's a spiritual service, brother, but we don't need to come in with these anti-abortion rips, dude. Just cool it. Okay, I know you think that. I don't agree with you. Whatever. We don't need to get into that. That's not what the discussion we're having today. This is a positive show. This is very positive, and it's a church of loving kindness. And make sure you support us with a like and a subscribe. And if you're enjoying it, tell your friends. Tell your friends that we're doing cult rehab here. So if they're having issues, if you think your friend's in a cult, say, yo, you need to call in. Tell them. You know what I mean? But don't be so cocky, but be like, you should call. You know what I mean? This guy will. And let's see if we can talk some sense. That would be sick to just like talk some sense into people and get them out of it. But like I said, man, we got a great guest right now. I had a good time chatting with him too. And he's a big man. He's a very successful, cool dude. I enjoyed talking to him, and I think y'all are gonna love hearing from him too. Without any further ado, let's bring on Vishal. Vishal, how's it going, brother?
Hey, good to see you, Amish. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for coming on. Sorry for the wait.
No worries, no worries. I'm impressed with the interstitials, all the CGI, all the graphics. It's awesome, man. Good work.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I wish I could tell people like how successful you are. I know you wanted to stay anonymous, but this is not coming from a slouch. This is Vishal is very successful. He's doing very well, and we're glad to have him here. Thanks for coming, man. I appreciate the compliment. That's great.
Absolutely, absolutely. That was a great guest prior to seeing someone from the Jehovah's Witnesses. One of my very good friends is also an ex Jehovah's Witness parishioner.
Wow.
So yeah, very, very fascinating to watch.
It is fascinating, and it makes you think about like even like it almost gets you into thinking about like what's real and what's not. You know, like what do I believe? You know, you're stuck in there and you think it's real.
Totally, and he was gay too, so he had it double difficult. And man, but he is living it up now. He's a very happy guy.
That's great. That's so fun, man. When someone gets out and they just get to rip, I remember we knew this guy, and I'm not like against like a turban, but he was a sick dude, and his parents like made him wear a turban, and strict and aggressive and mean, whatever. And I remember one day he cut off the turban, and it was almost symbolic. Like, I'm not encouraging anyone to cut off the turban, but it was symbolic. This guy started ripping in life. Like, he just went off. He was banging like 3 girls. Like right away. Like, he's just hooking up with three girls. And I think that's what got him out. He started having sex, and he's like, I can't. Now, he was like, until the sex happened for the first time, he was like, until that, I was like, okay, I could do it. I could see it. I could do it. Had sex one time. He's like, cut it. I'm out, baby. And the guy started ripping. He's great. He's like a millionaire. He's such a great guy.
That's amazing. Good for him.
I know. Dad still doesn't talk to him. So weird.
It's wild.
Yeah, man. But tell us about your experience in Scientology. Like, it's interesting that you grew up in that. What was it like growing up, and what were the things that they were forcing you to believe? Like, how far in did your dad make you get into that?
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I'll start with how my father got into it.
True. Okay.
So back in the 1950s, America, the UK, Australia, they came together and they created a collegiate system in India called India Institute of Technology. They realized there was a lot of smart people there, so they wanted to get them out of India, bring them into the Western economies to help grow them further. So my father went to one of the IIT schools, and the top 10 students of each university each year got a full ride scholarship to any university that they wanted in the collegiate system. So my father decided to go to MIT and study nuclear engineering. So he came to America with that full ride scholarship, but he only had $10 in his pocket. So he was kind of just beholden to um, his studies and whatever uh, modicum of a stipend they gave him. So along with coming to America, he also brought with him a autoimmune disease called ankylosing
Wow.
spondylitis, which is where your spine essentially it becomes very inflamed, starts to recalcify, and his spine was starting to curve, and there was no stopping it. And he went to doctors, and they said, "Sorry, man, we don't know what to tell you. You probably have 6 to 12 months left to live. It's likely your lungs are going to asphyxiate, and you're going to essentially collapse upon yourself." And they gave him some antidepressants, which were new at the time, and said, "Good luck." And he was just completely dejected, had no idea what to do. He's, in school, very stressful studies, and on top of that, he's got this life-threatening condition. So one day he's walking through Harvard Square, and someone approaches him and says, "Hey, would you like to take a personality test?" Now, this was one of the very popular proselytization techniques that they'd utilized to get people to essentially take the next step, which was to learn something about themselves, establish themselves as a position of authority, and then lead them, down the rabbit hole. So he goes in and he takes the personality test, learns a little bit about himself, and then, they start asking him about his life, and he lets them know about his condition. And they say, "Oh, well, I'm glad that you told us that, because one thing we believe is that all physical ailments stem from some sort of psychological origin." So they started telling him about this process that they do called auditing. Now, if anyone in the audience has, I think probably the most popular film on all this was a documentary called Going Clear on HBO, which if you haven't seen, I highly recommend. It's all true stuff. So auditing is basically a process where, think of like you're with a talk therapist, but it's very process oriented. And during this session, you have um, a contraption called an e-meter, which is essentially a very basic lie detector. You hold two cans, and it's got a needle that moves whenever there is a quote unquote charge. Now, a charge is, let's say, for example, Amish, I have you holding these two cans, and I say, "Tell me about your first breakup." Immediately, your needle would move, because it's very likely your first relationship breakup was very traumatic. It is for most people, at least. And I would be, "Okay, tell me about that." And what I would do is essentially go over and over and over about all the situations that happened within that relationship that brought about charge. And I'll ask you weird questions too. Like, you're telling me about this one time where she broke a beer bottle and tried to stab you, and I'd be like, "Okay, so what did the room smell like?" And you're gonna be like, "What? What is that? Why are you even asking me that?" But it gets you to think in such a way that you really go back to that memory.
Yeah, it's like it gets you in the moment. I did it. It's actually very. I had someone who was pretty tight. She was like an actor too, so she was really like good at. It's like a brainwashing almost thing too. It keeps you. It almost like turns off your brain and it gets you thinking. Man, they teach this in meditation. This is crazy. I
Yeah,
totally forgot
yeah.
about it. But it's like a thing
So
to get in the moment and to turn off your brain a little bit. It's like, because if you're thinking all the time, you're like distracted. You're going to think about a million things. But if they bring you into the moment with like, what was it like when this happened? Like the question already hooks you. And then I guess they just have a system of where they go down to do the brainwash.
exactly. Um, well, I wouldn't say the brainwash occurs during these auditing sessions. I think these auditing sessions can be therapeutic. I would say majority of the brainwashing occurs in the educational aspects, which I'll go after. I'll go into after I finish telling real quick what happened with my father. So he's going through this auditing process, and he then gets back to a traumatic incident that was so far in his timeline that it actually wound up being his own birth as a human. Now, who can even remember their birth? Well, he was
That's
able to do
weird. They
this
led
for
him there?
yes, yes, they let him there. He was able to visualize this and feel it. And what's interesting is that during his actual birth, there was a complication. He was born in India at home, which was very normal in India at that time. And during the delivery process, there was an issue. So some trauma was incurred, and he went over it and over it to the point where he was able to finally release that trauma. And upon doing so, he felt like there was a ton of bricks lifted off of his back.
Wow, it seems like such a healthy process. It sounds exactly like modern psychology and Buddhism even. Like the idea that you're going to tell me about your old traumas. So these are the things that are kind of holding you back in life currently, and we're going to try and heal them one by one. It's so weird that it's so, like, you were telling me this on the phone too, and I'm like, that I kind of believe in that.
Yeah, well, what I like to say, so L. Ron Hubbard's the guy that founded Scientology. He was originally a sci-fi writer, and he also got very interested in the occult and mysticism, and he was a traveled dude, and studied a lot of other religions and picked up a lot of things from different places, and he essentially took what worked, wrapped it in this MLM fascistic package, and sold it as Scientology. So there are morsels of goodness within what you see here, but the way it's executed is absolutely horrible and does not in any way redeem it whatsoever. But it's weird to say, because honestly, I wouldn't even be here talking to you if it weren't for Scientology. My father would probably be dead. So
Really, do you think they had a medical effect on him, like they saved his life?
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So you agree with you almost feel like do you still believe in their like medical side, their that side of it, but you just don't agree with, or are you still in it?
No, I'm definitely not. No.
Okay.
My whole family got out of it in 2000.
Oh, by the way, Vishal, your audio is breaking a little bit. Did something change in the last like 2-3 minutes? Because it came in, it was perfect coming in, but now it's like kind of like choppy a little bit.
No, give me a second. I'm using my headset. Is it still choppy?
It is, yeah. It
Okay.
just got like that like 2 minutes ago.
1 sec.
Yo, El Siddiqui says this guy's very eloquent. Yo, good call, dude. No, he's very successful. I wish I could tell you. But we're gonna have a lot of that on. I can hear you, but it's still a little bit chopping in. Say something again.
Okay, testing. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Can you hear me?
Oh my God, it's still doing it. What is that? I wonder if is that on my end? It can't be on my end. Is my sound choppy too, or is it his?
No, your sound's absolutely clear. Let me leave StreamYard and come back in.
Okay, sick. Yeah, let's do that. Thanks, man. Wow. Tom Cruise loves him some Scientology. Well, this guy, like, I mean, he's very prolific, and it's almost like, even as a writer myself, I'm like, this like all of us writers, we know that if we can just write all the time, there's millions of dollars out there. It's not like acting. Like acting, it's like everyone wants to be an actor, and it's like, okay, well, everyone wants to be an actor. Like, no, like it's not like that. Writing, it's like if you can execute on writing, you can be a millionaire. Like there's just unlimited writing. Initially, it seems like it's impossible, but once you figure it out, it's like unlimited work. So you look at someone like Stephen King, L. Ron Hubbard, they write nonstop. They're going to make the money. So he basically got his chops writing these science fiction books. Yeah, they are like, he's insanely prolific. But once he wrote these, I think it's almost like he learned from his science fiction and the fact that he's able to pull all his writing off. He goes, you know what? What am I writing these science fiction shit? Fuck this science fiction shit. The money's in brainwash it. So he just goes, let's start the call. Yeah, that's basically what happened, I think. But let's bring back Michelle. Hey, what's up, man?
All right. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Beautiful, dude. Tell it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So where was I? We were talking about, do I believe it?
Right.
So I think the process my father went through was legitimate. You know, he actually was able to, through hours and hours of very laser focused precision, accuracy of finding where the trauma was, and then beating the dead horse out of it so that there was no more charge left on it, led the body to truly relax and allow its natural immune system and healing to take place. And you can look outside of Scientology and see this sort of stuff. You know, it's not just within Scientology.
It seems very advanced. Like, it seems like, even for me, okay, like I'm into Buddhism, and Buddhism kind of talks about this too, where it's like, you have autoimmune. I have an autoimmune disease myself.
Mm-hmm.
This is where, when you told me this, I was like, okay, I can see why you joined. Because like, I have an autoimmune disease. You can't, like, they don't know what to do. The doctor is telling me, like, listen, you're just gonna bleed out of your ass, and that's your life. Like, it'll just come and go for the rest of your life. I have colitis. And he's like, what can we do? Okay, there's a $4,000 thing like this. I know my buddy takes it. It's just like a thing that hangs off of something, and it goes into your intravenously. It's this much liquid. It goes in, and it makes you sad and tired. Don't need it. I'd rather have diarrhea personally. Like, he's like, $4,000 a month, plus I'm sad and tired all the time. Okay, I don't have colitis, but I'm sad and tired. I don't need it. So that's out. Then the doctor goes, well, if you don't want to do that, yeah, we'll just cut it out, and then we'll put a bag here, and just shit in the bag, and then I got to walk around emptying the bag. But they put it in the front, dude. Can you imagine having sex with this thing? It's ridiculous. Like, I can't. It's already hard enough, dude. I'm in my mom's house, so it's like that, and then I'm like, forget it. Like, I honestly, I can see why you go to this kind of, but it seems like Buddhism, and then also these books like The Body Knows the Score, and very cutting edge stuff where they basically talk about, like, your brain is hiding your traumas are basically hiding inside of your body physically. So you actually sent me a screenshot of a Louise Hay book that says, if you have colitis, it's some kind of like, you're like tight in some area of life. You're like scared to let something go or whatever. I honestly, it's like you start turning to stuff like that because you just don't know what's going to work, you know?
Totally. Yeah, I actually have that page pulled up here from that Louise Hay's book called Heal Your Body. And in colitis, she writes that at its stem is a deep insecurity, and it represents the ease of letting go of that which is over.
That's
and the affirmation that goes along in healing colitis is, quote, I am part of the perfect rhythm and flow of life. All is in divine right order, quote.
That's so beautiful, dude. That's all that. Honestly, here's the thing, right? It's like, I told you the options. Shitbag, or I got $4,000. I'm sad and tired. Oh, and I think he's fat too. Like, he's gaining weight. Sad, tired, and I've gained like 15 pounds. No way. These are the two options. Maybe I should just do these Louise Hay. Like, I mean, why don't I just do that? You know what I mean? It's like, what do I got to do all this weird stuff for? Who cares? You know, like, just, it makes sense at that point. But then so that stuff, would you say, how close is that to what Scientology was doing? How good were they?
Yeah, I mean, like, the Louise Hay stuff is very much, you're on your own, right? It's just you and a book, right? Whereas with Scientology, there is a whole process behind it. And it's almost gosh, it almost felt like it was very militaristic. The detail of organization that they had, and
Right.
they keep very precise records of everything you do. I remember, like, even when I was having these sessions myself when I was in high school, they kept notes, and I told them a lot of private stuff, and I was thinking to myself, like, man, what if they use this as blackmail against me for any reason whatsoever? Which is actually why I believe people like Tom Cruise and John Travolta would never leave Scientology, even if they wanted to.
Right. Because they're like, at that point, you're too deep in.
Yeah.
You're like too brainwashed. Like, and this is happening with the crypto scene too. We had two. So CoffeeZilla is my partner on this channel. He
Are you
came on and
serious?
did. Yeah. We
I
started this
love him.
together.
He's
I
got
know.
great content.
Great channel. Great
Yeah.
content. He just did 2 live streams, and so he did 2 live streams with Safe Moon. Yeah, Safe Moon Crypto. It's like, no, it's an NFT thing.
Yeah.
But with him, and then today I went on a Clubhouse thing, and some guy's trying to sell his stupid NFT in there too. And it's like, you've invested this much money. They're all fighting with him. Like, the last 2 live streams he did, they're hilarious. These Safe Moon guys are coming on and being like, you don't know, it's not a scam, you're an idiot. And it's like the people that are losing their money. Like, it's like, idiot, you're losing $10,000, $20,000 on this, and you're coming on and like, you know what? You don't have the proof. You're stupid. Like, they're like yelling it. It's so funny, actually. The last 2 episodes on the channel, they're great. And the content, it's so good. Like, I mean, they're just coming on. But yeah, once you're that deep in, it's hard to walk away. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah. The last videos I saw from CoffeeZilla was with FaZe Clan, and
Right.
I forget which coin. It was some coin that had to do with kids, like helping
Save
orphans.
the kids.
Save
the kids. What
Crazy.
a psycho, dude.
Seriously.
This is a legit, like, sociopath that you just go in with, like, let's save the kid. Let's save the kids. Who's going to argue with save the kids?
Oh, well,
it's silly that they're like 15 years old too. They look like children.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, just to put a bow on my father's story. So, he hit this point where he was able to dive into that past trauma, and his body started to heal itself. And he went back to doctors, and they were like, "Wow, what did you do? Your body's starting to heal itself. This is amazing. We've never seen anything like this."
Oh.
So he had like an absolute new lease on life. And because he had such good results, he was like, how deep does this rabbit hole go? I'm ready to go further.
Yeah.
So he joined the Sea Org, which was the kind of like the...
It's like the Navy.
It's like the Navy or the Marines of Scientology, which was basically L. Ron Hubbard's way of moving the organization to international waters and avoiding a lot of laws and going to other countries to open up new missions and essentially spread the quote unquote good word. And my father was on the ship. His role was to be a word clearer. And what a word clearer would do is help make sure you didn't go by a word you didn't understand in all of the literature that Hubbard was having you read. So he would more or less test your cognitive traction of whatever you were reading. And which is an interesting habit he always drilled into me growing up, which was never go by a word you don't understand. Which is a great philosophy, right? It's how you learn.
Yeah. That's great. It's almost like it's again very Brown. It's almost like when I was a kid, they would make us learn these like 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4. Like you had to go from 2 times 2 to 12 times 12, and it was just like stay sharp, stay smart. I feel like as an organization, it's actually so much better than, no offense to the Jehovah's Witnesses, but it's actually tighter. I'd say it's like a step above, where it's like that's a great thing to teach a kid, and it's out of the cult,
Yeah. It was interesting because like when I got introduced to Scientology as a child, it was very anodyne. It was very uncontroversial. I was doing things like taking a course on communication. Like, what is the proper way to have a conversation with people?
They're teaching you that. That's so cult training. How to talk to a regular, like, do they do like regular? If you see a black man, say, "What's up, bro?" like what are they?
well, they didn't get specifics to race, but it was very much like how to make sure you acknowledge people. Like, I remember it was even down to when someone's talking to you, make sure you say just to like show people that you're listening. It was subtle stuff like that.
Podcast training. It's like I should take the class.
You should take the class. It's amazing.
Well, someone was just saying, if this speaker tried selling me on Scientology, he might be able to do it. It's like you've been taught since a young age. Are you in sales, by the way? I wonder.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because in high school I was very much a tech geek. I was the kid learning how to code and build apps and websites, and then when I got into my career, I decided to go into sales and marketing, because at that time I was working in the music industry. From where I was sitting behind a desk, it looked like they were having all the fun. So I was like, I want to go do that. So yes, I did get into sales. And I definitely appreciate the skill set. I mean, sales is necessary not just in making money, but it's in, getting your kid to do something, right? All areas of life.
Yeah, no, sales is one of those. And even our first caller was like, she's still in sales. I think her thing was like insurance. So she might be insurance or something, but she's like, the sales skills just transfer right over. I mean, they taught her from a young age, like, this is how you, I guess that's what a lot of the religions are. There are like the first sales organizations. And it's interesting because if you ever take a sales class and then you look at if you look at the curriculum for the sales class and you look at the curriculum for the cult class, it's kind of the same curriculum. Like all the way from like the sale, like let's say you have corporate sales training and then you have like MLM sales training and then you have cult. It's kind of there because the cult is a whole sales organization. Like that's the only way they survive is, okay, babies, 100%. But also, how are we getting new recruits? Especially the ones that are coming from India, they're coming and they have recruitment systems. They're fucking tight on that shit. So So Scientology, did you ever proselytize? Did you ever you ever hold one of those like sessions where you're like holding the things and you do it, the auditing?
So I was never the auditor. I was always the auditee. Okay. I've never said it like that. Auditee.
Auditee.
But no, so the most I ever did was they always asked me to get my friends to take courses, but I was always very shy about revealing this part of my life to my friends. I grew up going into public school, and I wasn't like other Scientologists, which unfortunately get more or less removed from society, and they're behind a closed wall of the community. I have a good friend who I wanted to bring onto the show with me, who actually went a lot deeper into Scientology.
Right.
And he was unfortunately not feeling up for it, but I'll see if I can get him on in the future. He would be an incredible guest for you. I know you guys would have a wonderful conversation.
Yeah, that would be great.
And he was tasked with proselytizing, and he was the guy that was on the street walking up to people, like the guy that walked up to my father asking him if he wanted to take a personality test.
Wow.
And if you think I talk smooth in any sales capacity. This guy is next level.
Oh,
He's actually a copywriter now. And if you ever wonder what copywriting is, all copywriting is sales in the written form.
Yeah. Yeah, and even that, it seems like the same curriculum. Because even with church, like the church people, their sales classes online, some of the best. You find out some of the best sales classes you can take in like YouTube, how to grow your YouTube audience classes. You look into the guy, like one of the biggest guys, he's actually like a church guy. Like he's building his congregation, but then he's like, hey, my name's Josh, and I teach you how to build your YouTube channel to do whatever. And he's so nice and he's so sweet. I can't remember exactly what his name is right now, but legit. And actually, we actually had we pulled this guy Anand earlier on the show. We pulled him out of a cult, like live on the show.
Get out! That's amazing. That's
I know, right?
Insane.
I know, dude. He came on and then he told us that he was still paying $2,000 a month to some like success consulting class.
That is insane. Wow.
Yeah, and he didn't even tell me. I already knew the guy, and he told me like he did it, and they made him feel shitty, and he was like, I feel shitty about it. Like I don't know, like he really is like a big inspiration behind the show. But like he was telling me about it, and I'm like, we got to have this guy on. He's actually our first cult rehab. He came on, and then on the show, he doesn't tell me in real life, but on the show, Steven was on it too, and he's just like, okay, so you're out now, and he brushed past it, and I was like, yeah, he's out, and then Steven's like, are you out now? And the guy's like, I'm still paying $2,500 a month US. And I'm like, wow, dude, right now, I'm like, cut it. I was like, give me the money.
Which cult was it?
It was, they called it large group awareness training.
Oh yeah, this is kind of similar to Landmark.
Yeah, similar to Landmark.
Except Landmark's more of a watered down version of it.
Landmark is so nice, man. I went to a Landmark actually, a Zoom Landmark.
Yeah.
Thinking like, oh, I'll expose them on the show, and then I went and I was like, this is really nice.
Yeah, I had no issues with the Landmark. The only issue I had was I felt a little pressured to bring other people to the event, but I get where they're coming from. I mean, they don't really spend any money on marketing, so they have to do it somehow. But
you got to grow, right? Like the whole organization is sales.
Yeah. I just feel like because I came out of Scientology, I'm super sensitive to that stuff. So anything that smells like a cult, I stay the heck away from.
Yeah.
Like I remember. So growing up, earlier I was saying Scientology always felt stigmatic because I was in a public school. And one of the scariest things in my life was coming out to my high school girlfriend that I was a Scientologist. We were like 6 months in, total honeymoon phase. I was absolutely in love with her. And most people in the county I grew up in, which was where the headquarters of Scientology is, knew about it because of the local paper here, which would always run exposés. So it didn't have a good reputation. So finally, when I told her, she freaked the hell out. And she didn't leave me, which was good, but she thought it was really, really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of strange. It was very like mentally extremely stressful growing up in that cult because I was like half in, half out. And I didn't leave until my father left in 2008. And at that point, I was about 2 years into college. And my father left because Mike Rinder, who was one of the talking heads of Scientology, head of PR, he was the guy that would go on TV and just tell blatant lies. He left. And when he stepped down, my father noticed, thinking, man, if he's leaving, there's something going on.
Yeah.
So Mike Rinder left, and I don't know if you know the actress Leah Remini, but she has a show on Scientology, which she partnered with Mike Rinder on, which is absolutely amazing. If you get
and Mike Rinder was working in the organization.
So yes, he was one of the top brass, and he left.
That's wild that he left, and then he made a documentary ripping them.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
he seems like an aggressive guy. Like if he's gonna leave, he's not just gonna be like, okay, I want to go. And then,
Oh, he's a bulldog.
He's a bulldog. So he leaves. He's like, I'm not gonna leave and be like, oh, I'm scared of them. What am I gonna do? He leaves. He goes, no, they're garbage, and he just bounced.
Exactly. Yeah. Someone just commented the Leah Remini Joe Rogan interview is mad interesting.
Yeah,
It is. Definitely
wow.
check it out.
I gotta check that out. That's great.
But talking about brainwashing for a second, it was very fascinating watching the cognitive dissonance I had to go through, because even though I didn't like telling people I was a Scientologist, I believed most of it. In fact, I believed all of it. Like, they had me hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
But I still, they brainwashed me to think that there was a conspiracy to destroy Scientology, that everyone was out to get us, and that we were doing good for the world. And yeah, ask how far up the bridge I got. So my father got to clear, and he didn't get into the OT levels. I barely got that far. I honestly didn't care.
Wow, you're born into it, and they still don't just give you the like pass you and move you up. You're just like, you failed, Vishal. Yeah, try again next year.
Pretty much, man. I mean, like, that's how do you think they make so much money, right?
Oh, you got to pay for the classes.
You have to pay for everything, which is why they want to make you good communicators and good at sales and good at understanding money, because they know if that you can become wealthy, that they're essentially pariahs. They're leeches that are going to get a little bit of that through the services they're going to sell you.
That is wild, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's so interesting. So how far up? What were the levels like? What do they call the levels?
Gosh, I've been out so long I can't remember what all the levels were before clear, but after clear, so clear, just so you understand what that is, that is a state that you attain that signifies you have no reactive mind. And the reactive mind,
it's basically enlightenment. That's so wild. I knew they ripped stuff off Buddha, because Buddha's tight, and then they just take that and make it like abusive. It's crazy. But
exactly. Yeah. So, it's just like the Christians took the pagan holiday and made it their own, right? So, copied religions essentially, and the state of not having any reactive mind meant that no one could emotionally trigger you. You had worked on yourself so far that much that you were always behaving at cause rather than effect. And then after that, you get into the crazy, bizarre stuff, which is the OT levels. OT stands for operating thetan. And
operating thetan. That's
operating thetan. Yeah. So someone mentioned Xenu earlier. That's where you learn about Xenu. I think it's like OT4, OT5. I can't remember. But they some of this knowledge is so sacred that they kept it under lock and key. And it's just like how some people in Congress, they can only view evidence in a special room. It was the same deal. Like you could only go to a special room to read the stuff, and then you'd have to leave the room. Someone asked if my father ever got sec checked, and he did. So towards the end, he was running into issues with the church. They kept sending him to ethics. Right. For some reason, ethics was a department where when the Jehovah's Witness was talking about the justice system they have within JW, the same as in Scientology. They have their own fictional legal system. And a sec check is where they basically put you on the cans, the e-meter, and they ask you a bunch of questions to see if you're lying and to get the truth. So that was another interesting thing, is that like you could never do shady stuff and get away with it, because they would always get you to tell the truth. That's how much of a control they had on you. So
like something, let's just say, people are like, oh, the whole community's talking. You did this. You cheated, or you cheated on your wife, or whatever. These guys would hear the rumors, and they go, "You need to come in for a sec check."
Exactly.
Wow. So
Exactly.
they go, "You're a grown man. You're 50. Your dad's 55 years old." They go,
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
So,
did you say he did it or no?
I honestly don't even remember
He's
what
very
they were.
sounds very straight edge. Your dad,
He-
like even the job he was doing in there.
Exactly. Yeah. It was just made up bullshit. Just like in corrupt governments, they'll make up charges for people that are political enemies. It was the same thing. So my father got declared a SP. SP stands for suppressive person.
Right.
And a suppressive person is anyone that speaks ill about the religion, that's going to be a troublemaker. A squirrel was another term they had for people that took Scientology teachings and made it their own and practice it outside of the church.
That's a squirrel. If they took Scientology, left with it.
Yes.
Oh, you're getting squirrely. You're running around with RT. Damn. They're like, oh, you're trying to start your own franchise. Trying to start your own branch.
Oh my God. They were and the Church of Scientology is extremely litigious. They have some of the world's best lawyers. It's no joke that they were able to get the tax status that they have as a religion, which is just beyond me how they were able to accomplish that. And
he's a good writer. He's a good writer because L. Ron Hubbard, dude, when you're that prolific, like when you jumped out for a second for the audio, I was saying like when you can write that much science fiction, he probably just ran through the legal system and he's just like, okay, yeah, that's what I do. Oh, let me write a story around that. Let me write a story around that. I get tax exempt. He's wild, that guy. He was so cheap. He didn't want to pay for lawyers or anything.
Absolutely. Here's something crazy. So when I was in the church under their brainwashing, in order to keep us brainwashed, what they would do is tell us these bold-faced lies that came down from the heads of legal. So whenever there was a article in the newspaper, what they would do is bring us in and be like, hey, read this article. Okay, now here are all the false things about this article. Here are all the true things about this article.
Wow.
And they did this so that basically when we went out into the world and someone confronted us on it, we could be like, no, actually, that's not true. Here's the truth.
Okay, so they gave you
talking points.
They gave you talking points. It is like, I was going to say, it's like Fox News. It's like Fox News, CNN, MSNBC. They're told, like, this is what we believe now. Every morning they get like a little, this is what we believe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's wild.
So like, so one thing cults do to maintain their cult status is a process called disconnection. So let's say I was in the cult, or let's say I still was in Scientology, and you came to me and you're like, Vishal, did you hear this about Scientology? Did you hear this about Scientology? I would be forced to cut ties from you because you are critical of Scientology.
Yeah.
And because I've now cut ties from you, I have no way of having you influence me.
Yeah.
So there's this one time when I was out and I had a really good friend that was in it. He was a really smart guy. He was a software developer.
Yeah.
Very well-to-do. And he works at Hulu, actually. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, what's up, dude? How you doing? And he responded. This was on Facebook Messenger. And then I said, hey, did you see the new Leah Remini series?
Okay.
And just like earlier I mentioned the talking points, he had talking points ready to go. And then after that conversation where I disagreed with him, he was like, hey, man, it's been nice knowing you. I wish you all the best. And then he blocked me. And this was a good friend of mine.
Right.
Someone I knew for years. And then to make it even weirder, I was also good friends with his girlfriend. the next day, I was like, well, shit, he obviously blocked me. Let me see if I can reach out to his girlfriend. She had already blocked me too.
Wow. So the girlfriend had to block. Was his girlfriend in Scientology too?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so well, she knows. Well, you're blocked, dude. You're out.
So there was no way I could, because like that was my hope, that if he was still in, I could at least, bring him some truth and try and get him out. But
Yeah, yeah.
that's a fool's errand. That's how
They go-
deep the brainwashing goes.
Oh my god, that's wild. Yeah, even the Natalie was talking about our first guest was talking about how like when she was getting married, like not allowed to go to the wedding. Oh, that's so mean. I mean, I guess that's how they control you, keep you in. It's like such a brainwash technique. You're alone now. You have no contacts. You have no friends. You have no family. It's wild. How did your dad get out then? Like your dad's out in the end. How's his colitis? Like how did he's out? Like when he said, okay, the Grinder, it was Mike Grinder. You said he left. Did this
Mike
documentary?
Grinder.
Mike Grinder. He left. So your dad goes, okay, this is bullshit. I'm out.
Yeah.
If Grinder's leaving, Grinder's like a beast. I've seen him too. He's tight.
Yeah.
So I see what your dad's thinking. He's like, if this guy's leaving, this organization's falling apart. Fair enough. What did they do? They come after your dad. Because he sounds like he was like he's getting a lot of work done for them.
Yeah. So, well, towards the end, he was out of the Sea Org. He was just a civilian at that point, as a parishioner using their auditing services. And they were already giving him trouble in terms of getting up the bridge. So that trouble combined with the departure of Rinder led him to basically be like, all right, I'm out. This is over.
Yeah. But then no like following him, no harassing him.
Oh, that's a good question. Thank God he wasn't harassed. No one followed him. However, you do bring up a good point. That is a common trend. Just like the JWs have their own private investigators and security detail, it's the same deal with Scientology. And they will, they actually have a policy, which the name of the policy is escaping me, but it's a strategy to attack any detractors, and that is to dig up dirt on them, even make up dirt on people and put it out there in the public just to muddy someone's reputation. So they'll do that, and then they will also, to make you feel threatened, they will send private investigators to your house that'll knock on your door, that'll sit in cars outside of your house and just watch you. I know my friend who I wanted to bring on, someone at the church bought the house across the street from him just so that they could watch him.
Bought the house?
Yes, that's how much resource they have. Like, I would say a good portion of the church's wealth is.
Yeah, you cut out. What happened? Oh no, we can't hear you. Also, my dog's going crazy. 1 second. Oh my god, you cut out like right at the perfect pot. You said a large part of their money is coming from, and then it cut out. I'll be. Yo, you there? Can you hear me? Nobody can hear him, right? It's them silencing him. It's true. Wow. They came in. They got us. Dude, they got the stream. They attacked the stream. Vishal, you're totally gone. I'm going to text him right now. Wow, dude. What an interesting story. I can't believe this is the life, eh? I think this is a good... Oh, he's out. Okay, cool. He's probably going to call back in 2 minutes. But I do... Listen, I know I said we're going to do call-ins. Does anyone here want to do a call-in? Because I gotta run right now. Bit of an issue here in the house, but I gotta run. But we will definitely do call-ins in the future. Tell me if anyone's here waiting to do a call-in, and then I I owe you. You know what I'm saying? Last time we tried it, though, we didn't really get anyone saying that they want to do a call in. So it would be great to have more people doing that. But I don't know if we're going to be able to. I can't do it today. I'm so sorry, everyone. Just something has come up here. I got to run. But Vishal is back in the waiting room. Vishal, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man.
I guess you cut out right on like the amount of money they have. So much money, or like their money comes from, and it's just cut. It's perfect.
Oh yeah, they're on to me, man. I just checked my my Wi-Fi router, and for some reason it went out. So
Oh no.
I've connected on cellular now. But to finish that sentence, I was saying they hold so much wealth in their real estate around the world. Just like McDonald's is actually the 7th largest real estate
holder. Yeah.
Yeah.
So interesting. So they hold power like that, you're saying. But yeah, tell us. I got to run, but just something's come up here. Actually, I have to run, but we are going to be back. Dude, you got to come back. I feel like we can come back. We can review videos and stuff like that. Do we need to? Is there anything we need to wrap up on the dad story? I want to make sure we covered all of it. He got out. How's the colitis? Sorry, his autoimmune disease. Is he okay?
Yes. So the issue he had was ankylosing spondylitis, and he still has it, but at least it isn't worsening. We all think he's lucky that he's lived as long as he has. He's 75 now, and he never thought he would make it this long. So, I mean, he has other health issues that are maintaining, but yeah, at least it didn't get to the point where he died.
Yeah, no, and you still feel like the Scientology system, like that stuff, it made him better.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I have such a weird relationship with Scientology. I mean, I very much detest it, but were it not for a portion of what it has to offer, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and just like the law of attraction people, they are actually jacking a lot of law of attraction philosophy. I mean, sorry, a lot of Buddhist philosophy, and then just incorporating into the law of attraction or the secret. And so like it is this incredible philosophy that they just kind of bastardize, add a cult to it, and add like a money grifting system to it. It's really sad that they did that. But yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from with that. Like there's actually great. That's why they, you don't pop for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you pop off like Scientology, like you did something. And I think a lot of people don't get that. They just think like, oh, you're just stupid. It's stupid. It's like, no, there's real reasons why people get into it. Actually, very intelligent people get into it. It has nothing to do with intelligence. It's actually vulnerability. And that's what I was saying at the beginning. It's the autoimmune diseases. When you're faced with like, okay, this thing could, be the end of it all, or like whatever. It's like you got to start thinking outside the box. And then if they're the only ones giving you this system, then they're the ones that gave you the system. It totally makes sense, actually.
Exactly. Yeah. The one thing I'll leave all the viewers with to check out, and it may be hard to track down, but there was this independent film made years ago, I think in the 90s, called The Prophet. And Prophet is Profit, like profit and money profit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about L. Ron Hubbard and his rise to success. So if you can find that, worth watching. Also,
I'll check that out.
Also, The Master with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin.
Oh, that I love. I've seen that.
Yeah, that was a really good portrayal of it.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, thanks for having me. This was a really fun conversation, and would love to do it again sometime.
Thanks for coming in, man. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it again soon, and hopefully next time we can do call-ins and stuff like that. Because I think it's really helpful for people to hear from people who used to be in cults, and then also coming in with their questions and stuff like that. But really appreciate it, man. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right, peace. All right, everyone. That is our service for today. We went right to 8. So good though. I do have to run right now. I have to take care of this dog, and then I also have to start meditation. I have a meditation class right now. So it's at meetup.com/loveoracle. Listen, if you're coming, you're coming. It's fine. In the future, we're going to integrate that more, but really appreciate everyone for coming. Thank you so much. No, we're going to, I have to start meditation right now. So thanks everyone for coming, but I do have to run. And, but you are loved. Listen, you are loved. And we're going to be doing spiritual Sundays every Sunday now. I want to do like ghost stories. I want to do one ghost stories. I think Cult Rehab though, especially after these two that came in today, like their stories are so tight. And I thought it was really so interesting. So yeah, make sure you keep, make sure you hit the like button, hit the like if you love the algorithm, hit that like and hit the subscribe, tell your friends. We're going to get, I feel like we got to do more of these cult episodes. They're honestly inspirational. And shout out to Natalie Grand too. What a great story. And she was so encouraging too, with as far as like, you know, do whatever you want in life and stuff like that. So that was great. And again, thanks everyone. You are loved.